This is Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything Stadia related, and today we're going to be talking about the most recent Stadia Connect. It included game announcements, shadow drops, Maze Pro games, and more. But before we dive into all that, I want to talk about the Connect itself as a whole because they absolutely nailed it. It's exactly what we needed to hear from them as Stadia users at this point in time, while also being a fantastic way to advertise the platform since they're offering those 2 free months of Stadia Pro to new users. My biggest fear prior to the Stadia Connect happening was that there just wasn't enough games to fulfill all our needs between now and the next big AAA release in September. And please don't get me wrong here, I do think they've done a great job announcing indie support over the past couple of months, and there are some fantastic titles coming. But I'm sure I speak for myself and many others out there who just wanted a bit more of a AAA type of game. Or even just something new that hasn't already been released. And we got all of that right here. In fact, my only knock against this Stadia Connect is the fact that we didn't hear any updates about the platform itself, such as wireless support for the Stadia controller on other devices outside the Chromecast Ultra. But they did leave us off with some good news, and that's that we can expect a Stadia Connect sometime in the summer, and if I had to place a bet, it'd probably be around June when all the other consoles are going to be having their E3 replacements. Either way, that's enough of that. Those are my overall thoughts on the Connect as a whole, but now let's talk games because that's what matters most. First, I need to get this one out of the way because it's a huge deal for many of you out there, and that's the fact that EA and Stadia have officially announced that 5 titles will be making their way over to the platform. They have confirmed 3 out of those 5, the first being Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the second Madden, and last but not least, FIFA. Now, I'm not too into the sports games myself, but I know just how big of a deal FIFA is in the gaming industry. This is one of the top selling franchises of all time. I mean, even among this Gen S community, there have been plenty of you asking me about when or if FIFA would release on Stadia, and I'm just glad to say that we finally have that answer. Now, one really interesting tidbit that I needed to point out here is the fact that they said that these games will release after Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, since that'll be kicking everything off, and they said that will be coming in fall. That does seem to paint the picture that we won't be getting these games until after the other platforms do, since Madden typically releases around August and FIFA September. Now, to be clear, that's just my observation, and in no way is that confirmation of anything. For all I know, these games may be getting pushed back due to the situation of the current state of the world, but who knows. Now, the last thing I want to mention about these EA titles is the mysterious other 2, because I'm really hoping one of those is Apex Legends. That would be a great get, and it'd be a very welcome surprise. As for the second mystery title, I'm personally hoping it's Need for Speed Heat. I absolutely love that franchise, and I know it's had some hits and misses recently, but Heat was definitely a hit. Either way, let me know your predictions for those 2 mystery titles in the comments section below. I look forward to seeing if any of us are right, but now let's move on to the games that released the same day that the Connect happened. Now, who here doesn't love shadow drops? It's always great when one of these styled events happen and then they release games that you can play day of, and this Stadia Connect didn't slouch. 4 games came out on the store at the very moment the Connect started, 3 of which were a surprise and 1 we knew of. I'm talking about none other than Monopoly, Get Packed, Octopath Traveler, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. When it comes to Monopoly and Get Packed, we knew those were on their way, but Octopath Traveler and PlayerUnknown's, that's a huge surprise. Octopath Traveler itself is a highly regarded, well-reviewed, nostalgic-filled JRPG that is sure to please anyone who's looking for that type of experience. It's a game where the average time to beat is around 60 hours, and if you're the completionist type, it can be well over 100. The fantastic storyline and very unique visuals really set this game apart from its peers, and it's a great addition to the Stadia library. What surprised me most about the announcement though was the fact that this game has only seen release on Steam and the Nintendo Switch. That means Stadia players will be able to enjoy this game before it even launches or gets announced for the PlayStation and Xbox consoles. Next up, let's discuss PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG for short. This game is a very well regarded battle royale. So much so that I'm not even gonna bother to explain what this game is about, since I'm sure most of you out there are very aware. What I will say though is that it was a fantastic move by Google to include this in the Stadia Pro game lineup, because this game fulfills a niche on Stadia that has yet to be filled, and that's being a competitive shooter. While yes, we have had Destiny 2, I don't really look at that the same way that I would look at something like this. PUBG in comparison is a purely PvP focused game that relies on team communication to a high degree. It's not a game I'm particularly good at, but I'm sure it's one that many people out here are gonna be very happy to see. I should also mention that Stadia Pro members will get a cool Stadia themed outfit for their character, as well as access to the Battle Pass for the current season. And yes, for those wondering, it does offer crossplay support with the other consoles. But now let's move on to something coming soon, and that's the Pro games for the month of May. So, beginning May 1st, you'll have access to the Turing Test, Steam World Heist, and Zombie Army 4 Dead War. I've previously covered both the Turing Test and Steam World Heist in another video, and if you're interested in finding out more about those, I'll link them down in the description below. For now, let's put our focus on Zombie Army 4 because it's a really great cooperative third-person shooter. This game features a full-on campaign that you can play through with up to 3 other friends. The game should take you about 10 to 12 hours to beat, and also offers a horde mode that's a lot of fun to play as well. Now, the way I would describe this game is as good mindless fun. It's the type of game you can chill out and play with a few buddies while you talk about anything and just have a ton of fun doing so. But at the same time, if you're looking for more of a challenge, you can definitely ramp up the difficulty level to provide that sort of experience as well. Not to mention the fact that there is also a score system where you can build up a combo meter and actually achieve pretty high scores, and you can use that to compete with your friends if you'd like. As for the weapons themselves, there's a good variety and they're a ton of fun to use to mow down zombies left and right. There is also an upgrade system for those who enjoy that sort of playstyle, but more than anything, I have to say I'm really happy to see this as a Stadia Pro game. And that's pretty much because it's assuring to know that there will be many others to play with day one. And finally, we're on to the last 3 titles they announced at this Stadia Connect. Those 3 being Ember, Wavebreak, and Krata. We're gonna start with Ember. Here you play as a firefighter where you have to save lives, but it seems to have a comedy twist to it, and I'm all about it. The quick trailer showed us that we can play with other friends as well for some co-op action, and we can save lives by just tossing them out of the window. I can't wait to see all the crazy scenarios this game will throw us into, and I did notice one thing. According to the Steam page, this game was supposed to release May 21st. Now that very well could just be a placeholder date since this is a first on Stadia title, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it launch around that time frame. Now following that, we're gonna talk about Wavebreak. This is another indie title, but it's one that I was surprised to see because I have been keeping tabs on it ever since I saw it back at E3. This game is skateboarding, or as they like to call it, skateboarding with a gun twist. As you could tell, it has a heavy 1980s vibe with a synthwave sound and that Miami Vice look. The game will feature a single-player campaign, multiple game modes, local and online play, as well as an upgrade system. This looks like a fantastic indie game and I can't wait to give it a shot myself, but the next title seems to be the standout among the 3 of them. Krata is described as a playing, creating, and sharing platform. That means users will be able to create their own game modes, rule sets, and gameplay and share them with the rest to enjoy. I have to say the whole project sounds extremely ambitious, but if done right, this has the potential to be a really big game. The developers themselves have already showcased some of the creations they've made, such as Prop Hunt, a third-person team-based tactical shooter, and more. It'll be extremely interesting to see how this game develops once it's in people's hands, but it seems like it can do quite a lot and I'm excited to see what people can come up with. I'll definitely be keeping a very close eye on this title because I do think it has a lot of potential to be a big deal. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up all the announcements we got at this Stadia Connect, and I have to say I'm very satisfied with them, but let me know your thoughts and opinions on it in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video message is just going to be a quick apology for the lack of content uploaded on the channel, but I was having some issues with my ISP, so I wasn't really able to record Stadia gameplay or upload videos over this past 2 weeks. Either way, we're back now, and I just want to put out a quick reminder that if you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Twitter for any updates on the channel, as I do tend to post there. I'm really glad to be back, and as always, thank you for watching this video. This has been Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything Stadia related. The Gen S community is over 3,800 strong and growing by the day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.